After watching Unadilla, I am somewhat convinced that Tomac is somewhat following in the footsteps of Jett Lawrence. Yes, that's exactly what you should be doing, is if somebody is beating you, you try to implement what they are doing. And I believe his setup to his riding style is being changed by this individual. So we'll first start off with Jettson just literally demolishing the field on one of these uphills. Watch how he just hops, and I do believe it's his talent, B, it's his motorcycle, and C, it is the suspension attached to that motorcycle with how soft it is. So he comes out here on the outside. Watch him come off of an acceleration bump and turn it into a double. Boop. Right there, he gets on the ground faster than Prado and Roxon, and he's going to do it again. Come up here. He squares him up and is able to boop off of just nothing again. How can he just create these launches out of just thin air, it seems? It almost seems like one of those video games where, oh, here's a launch pad, here we go. Or a movie where you see a guy on a dirt bike just jump off of nothing, and that's the scene, but everyone believes it. And we'll take another look at it here. There he is. Bop. And then here he goes. Just right around. Just soaking up. While RJ is riding exceptionally well this summer on a 450, that suspension on that bike, it's almost as if he just has another gear, like it's a 7th gear Honda. Just how much faster he gets around these guys, because if you watch RJ struggling, this guy is hopping and downsiding things and launching off of them and accelerating in smooth areas. That makes him just so much faster, and he almost took out RJ here, just surprised him. And to be fair, Ken Roxon almost did the same thing to him in another scene that I will show you here in just a bit. But again, keep your eyes on Jett as he comes off the finish line. He's going to land, boom, and instantly that motorcycle rebounds where you would think, hey, this stuff is just too soft, but he does it on purpose. Bounces, okay? You can see that suspension doesn't just completely bottom, but then he pops it up and gets over some of these big braking bumps to just kind of downside them and make them smooth. And here's another little corner hack that we saw him go from outside to then just jump. And literally, I don't know how he's not folding his foot pegs by leaning over inside the rut, because normally all these guys just roll this and roll, and he's turning it into a little quarter jump. Because I believe we will show Deegan, and he just rolls it, right? But then here's another look at Jett landing. He's at the bottom of the screen. The camera guys didn't get the best of this, but he is still popping that front end after a hard landing. Boom. Pops that front end. Gets over another braking bump. Acceleration bump. Just the whole 9 yards. He's making the track smooth. And he looks good doing it with his $50,000, what is that, $80,000 neck chain? I don't know. I wouldn't be wearing it around my neck, but I'm not as flashy as Jett is. So does Deegan wear his while he's riding? I don't know, but somebody in the comments will definitely let me know. And here comes the comparison with the beast mode. Tomac, watch him as he comes down this hill. Boop. Okay, what did we see? This is a very vertical downhill, very scary. Okay. But he's going to jump, and he's going to land, and what's the next thing he's going to do? Is he's going to bunny hop that motorcycle to jump even further down. It's not quite as aggressive as the front wheel high that we saw Jett do in the previous section here, but look at how soft that suspension is. Okay, here's another instance where we see him just kind of hopping around. But again, he's got like this hybrid technique where now he then just murders the corners. And watch him here on the landings. Boom. That is a very hard landing. So from what I've heard, that Tomac usually likes this stuff very stiff. But if I was a betting man, which I am, I'm willing to bet that Tomac has got a much softer bike. I was talking with Styles Robertson on my podcast this morning, and he was talking about how everyone is chasing the setups here and that they are going softer. So it's a good time for you to join the conversation, hit that subscribe button, let me know what you think. And with Hunter to me seems like he's getting frustrated at being the first loser. And he's, 11 second place finishes this year. Watch what he does. He gets the whole shot in Moto 2, and then instantly Jett does the crazy Jett things, which here, I want to go over this. Okay, most guys, if we saw previously that Tomac was going wide, yeah, this thing got completely blown out, but Jett is waiting that outside peg. Okay, he's got his ass cracked there. Beautiful technique, but he's making sure that he is just a few feet past the big berm where it is going to catch him, and he doesn't have to push a whole lot of dirt. It's there in case he needs it. And watch what he does is he's able to have that ass end move around, okay, where he's able to turn the motorcycle. It's kind of like a drift king to catch it with that berm here, but he's able to keep his speed up and he's not having to move as much dirt. And boom, he's able to get around his brother. And then what does his brother instantly do? His brother instantly attacks like, dude, I got the whole shot. Watch. Boom. And he's trying to almost run into his brother, but he's just not, because of the sheer fact that that's the teammate. That's the dude that's winning the championship at the moment. I can't do that. And so again, my whole analogies and my whole thought process and consensus is that this individual needs to get on a different team if we're going to see him win. And he's not getting any younger. However, is he going to be okay with being second place for much longer? I don't know. I know what the contracts are and everything, but you can break them. I mean, with what's going on with Roczen potentially breaking his hemp deal to maybe go with Kawasaki, and which would be cool. Chase and Sexton on a Kawasaki. Who knows if they're going to get along, because those are two like very alpha individuals, and usually both those guys only want to be the alpha on the certain brand and the team. But here, I'm digressing. Watch what you have Hunter do to Jett coming down here. Instantly stops, skids. If this was any other rider, this could have been, hey, I'm putting you, bro, into the trees, and I'm making the pass. Would have been an epic replay for all of the moto media and even Peacock to be like, hey, Jett went down because somebody passed him and took him down while doing it. But he's not going to do that because he is on factory Honda. He is the wingman to Jett, which is a bummer. But you're starting to see him get a little tired of it. And honestly, I dig it. I'm there for it because he's got the speed. Oh, and this was just spectacular too. Coming up this hill. Okay, watch what Jett does. Is he's going to keep that front end light again. Okay, he keeps that front end light and jumps, and then he's going to wheelie through this stuff. He doesn't want that front end to get stuck in these massive ruts, because if it gets stuck in these massive ruts, well, then you get the head shake and you might fall down. But he literally just wheelies over that entire rut all the way up top, and then still is able to scrub this SOB. Amazing. And yes, he is that exceptional rider. He's the generational talent, but there will come a time that he gets beat. Even the best dog sometimes doesn't have the best day. The analogy probably doesn't work here. Here's another deal where if this was any other guy, Hunter could have just easily made the pass here. Watch how close he gets here in real time. Boom. If he would have just came in hauling ass, he could have instantly stuffed his brother and made the pass, made the other rider shut down. But he just put a wheel on there. It's almost like just the wingman. I'm here. I'm letting you know that I'm here. And I want to see more of it, but I want to see more aggressive, and I want to see him actually beating his brother. So here is where his brother was getting a little nervous, and you could see here's that same outside line. Okay, he's being pushed. He's trying to get ahead of his brother, which he eventually did, and got a good gap to then where Jett could then settle down for about 80%. But what happens when he's being pressured? Okay, we saw it last weekend at Ironman with Chase, where he totally stopped. He's like, hey, I don't want the rough riding. I'm done. And here with his brother, who he knows is going to race him clean, is racing him more aggressive than what we've seen in the past. He makes a mistake, comes off the track, and what does he do? He wheelies, instantly responds, like just in milliseconds. He's able to adjust where he's putting the motorcycle is that in itself is legendary right there. And wheelies, makes a small error because, he wheelies off the track so he doesn't hit the little curb. And so he turns the error into, honestly, a nice line and then jumps down at massive speed. Just spectacular. And speaking of the other Hondas that are doing really well, Joe, Sushi, whatever you want to call him, he is coming into his own. And watch him coming up the same hill. He doesn't keep the front end light to the point where he wheelies over it, but he is able to just come off of a acceleration bump and then turn it into a step up. Just wonderful. And he honestly tries to do that here at the finish line. And if I zoom into this, watch what happens. He was the only guy that I saw try to come from, literally, this is like 10 feet from the lip. Okay, halfway up the finish line, he's deciding to try to jump and get over it. What does he do? He gets the front wheel over, but he tags the rear wheel. And what does that in turn do? Well, it makes it go to that front wheel high. There'd be some spodes out there that would be like, oh, hell yeah, go, Joe. But that was not a mistake that he didn't do the rest of the race, but it looked sick, and it could have been one of the fastest lines. Okay, he sets up a little preload, and then it just becomes a small little mishap. And I promise we're going to talk about Roczen having a moment on Jett, because Jett almost took out RJ in the air. Well, Roczen does the same thing, but it was just a few corners before that incident happened, where they're coming towards the back section before the 180 and the giant, is it a catapult? Whatever that they call that jump. Spectacular jump, massive whips and everything. But Roczen is trying not to get past, and what does he do? He basically scrubs into Jett. He takes his leg off, does a little like stanky leg to make sure that he's not gonna run into Jett, and he makes it pretty dang close. Okay, but he gets the pass back and then eventually gets it overtaken by Jett, because that is what Jett does. We had another sick line by Prado. I really like this. This was at the beginning of the moto, so the track was pretty nice. But what does he do? He's trying to set up the Honda boys so that he can make a pass. So he's dragging that rear brake. He is going to then hip that motorcycle out and weight that outside peg. Beautiful drift around, makes his own line. Just, this dude is so talented, and that Kawasaki is not doing him justice. There's something else going on, and I don't know what the freak it is, but he needs to figure it out. That's for sure. So this is all I have time for today. Do you agree with me when it comes to Tomac riding more like Jett, with like a hybrid? Suspension is soft. I'm going to hop around some more stuff, keep the front end light, but I'm just going to keep it WFO wherever I go. Let me know. And this is Johnny Hopper. Till next time. Bra da 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 da.